It's a little bit schizophrenic. Eh. Fat. Fat. 5 minutes. That sure is a shiny ThinkPad. That works pretty well. That's nice. Very nice. $5.08. So how much crap are we gonna get about the whole AMD and Intel Q2 announcements? Well, the comments on the articles weren't very friendly. Mic's up.
My mic's up.
It is.
Why would you do that?
Because it's elevated and it's time. Yeah, you sort of got to anticipate the droop.
Yeah.
Like that. I have no place to put my pen. Yeah, what the? What happened here? Okay, I got audio there. Oh, that's weird. That's really weird. Apparently, if you toggle the Alt 3 button a few times, it flips out and drops the channel. That's interesting.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, Alan. It's about that time. The Intel 545S 256 gig drive is on sale for $55 at Microsoft. It's 21 cents a gig. The Inland 240 gig is $43. Yeah.
What?
I like this headline. Along blockchain, the IT company that rebranded itself with one of last year's hottest buzzwords, was subpoenaed by the SEC.
Oh. I wonder what for.
Nobody could have seen that one coming. Remember when Long Island Iced Tea changed their name to Long Blockchain and pivoted to blockchain? Yeah, it was one of those stupid stories last summer.
Well, Jeremy's on IRC. Will he pick up on Skype? Maybe. Well, I'm connected.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. You're supposed to put the mic in the same room as you, not like 3 rooms over.
Now it's updating to Skype Clown Vomit Edition. Hello?
That's impressive.
It is.
We're really going to have to find an alternative here soon.
Yep.
Nope. There we go.
Yay! No audio.
No, you're good.
Oh, we're good. Oh, that's why.
But yes, I'm actually getting returning video.
Oh.
You're getting rich from video?
Yeah,
Sweet.
we're pivoting to video,
Isn't
Josh.
that what we're doing right now, Josh?
So rich.
So rich.
So rich and creamy?
Mm.
Creamy.
No. That's canasta.
Steamed corn.
Yep.
Wait, why is that still there?
What? No.
Guess
What
I
is
should
this?
turn on my mute.
Oh,
You have a mute?
I
Like
have a birthday.
look,
in a
it's
gimp
Alan.
outfit?
Oh. Oh.
Wow, I haven't heard
Only
that
I could
in
do
forever.
that as high. As the ICQ guy.
Is ICQ still around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously, they are?
They got bought by Russia. It's not the same thing, really, but
Oh.
Don't put your credit card information in there.
I don't think I ever put any. Because I didn't. I'm cheap.
I don't.
I don't hear anything
You don't?
It's unfortunate for you.
unless is
Who
it only on
cares?
one channel?
It shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
Nobody knows what Alan's listening to.
It's coming out of the other channel.
Well, maybe it just doesn't like you.
I don't know.
Ken, are you getting stereo on yours?
Mop, mop.
Mop.
Bop.
Yep.
Bop, bop, bop. Doody wop, wop, bop. Bop, bop, oh, oh.
Just let him have it out.
It's
He asked if he was
frighteningly on tune,
He asked
actually.
if he was getting stereo, so you were singing the wrong song.
Well,
Should I
it's
be
song.
singing?
Yeah, what song should he be
Song blue. Everybody knows one.
Moving in stereo.
Wait, how
course.
can you hear in stereo when you've only got one earplug?
singing? I'm just good.
Details. Minor details.
Highly evolved.
Y'all can suck it.
Trebek.
Okay, back.
I better turn the other light on in my office, so I'm gonna do a crotch shot while I do this.
You can leave the light on.
Is this the right week?
Yep.
It's an armpit.
Is it ever
August
the right
1st.
week for crotch shots? Yes.
All right, we do not have a remote for the laptop yet.
Hold
That'd be
on,
because the app isn't
Everything
running.
went dark. So dark.
no.
This
No,
house is
laptop.
dark. Do you remember watching that family trade show where the lady, the really super religious
Family
one,
trade.
you're all so dark. Yeah, the wife swap thing.
Okay.
Wife swap thing.
That
I know that was a thing. I never really
Yeah.
watched it.
Yeah, you know, I only saw the things like you got to watch this crazy lady, and she was crazy. But you know what? She got a big check. So
How crazy is she?
is that what they're calling it now? A big check?
big check.
Big check.
Got a big check. Not really. But I do have my correct glasses on with the filters.
Filters.
The coating, so anti-glare. See, can't see a glare.
Well, we
This is
can't.
my baby blues.
Were you glaring at us?
Yes.
Or is that a stink eye?
Why is this
No,
laptop
it's just glaring.
wagging?
Okay.
Because it hates you, Alan. That's
This
why.
laptop's doing some weird shit.
Yep.
It stopped now.
Ah!
I just have to look at it knowingly.
Yes, Josh Tech is on the wall. Has been a couple episodes, so got that up in early July. Cleaned up the office. You couldn't tell it from this angle.
Is it to
Hey,
the
wait,
window?
where's Jim?
Jim's not
Jim's
here,
usually
man.
in the back
Nope.
doing things.
He's not.
This is my field
Oh.
of Jim. Note that it is barren.
How can we do the show then?
Did you guys kick him out?
No.
Did I miss some drama?
No.
Always.
Oh,
Can't have drama if he's not here.
that's true.
Exactly.
I mean, we just changed the locks. It's no big deal.
I mean,
They know
someone got a
attention's that man
restraining
behind the
order for
curtain.
150 feet from the PC Per offices, so you know what's the deal?
Okay.
So where's Ryan going now?
He's coming home.
He's coming home. He's coming
I don't know,
home.
probably for like 12 hours at this rate.
Tell the podcast he's coming home.
All right. Is this the thing?
What is an SN100 3.2 terabyte for $300?
Yes.
HGST Ultrastar.
3.2
3.2
terabytes.
That's weird.
Mm, well, it's Hitachi, so it's good.
Yay!
Oh, an update available.
1 frame per second.
Don't touch the update.
Oh, it's
Touch the big red
doesn't capture the
candy
application.
button.
oh, no, it does.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't. Not if you hover over the update button.
See, it's
Weird.
telling you not to update.
New software is best software.
Maybe I should pick a pick. You know what?
Nah.
Pick your pick.
Pick a
Take
pick.
your pick.
So you can pick your friends, and you can pick your pick. Oh, wait,
But you can't pick your friends to what?
I don't know.
A 3.2 terabyte NVMe SSD for $300. No, that sounds pretty good.
That's not
are you
bad.
serious? How the hell does?
I don't know. Was it stolen? I'm all right with it.
That's
Yeah,
not-
Some
that's-
marks on the box
There's
where it
2.2
fell out the back of the truck, but other than that,
Damn, I would buy one if I could find a 3.2 terabyte NVMe. And I don't have any funds. I'd sell off one child,
Hold on. What port is that on there?
or at least maybe a kidney of the child.
child's kidney. They're young. You don't need them yet.
They don't. Gosh darn bug.
Well, it's got to eat up too.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
That is approximately that is 9 cents a gigabyte. Just so how ridiculous 10 cents a gig is.
I mean, is it
Is it
actually-
SATA?
Is it actually? No, it's NVMe.
Okay. So
Listen,
it's real.
it was on eBay. Just got lucky. Man, I need to surf eBay more. Apparently,
Damn.
who knows if it'll work? But
Probably did get lucky because, like, who's honestly looking for that specific drive? Like, I really want that.
Well, it's like that one Nigerian prince who really is sending out emails to give away
Yeah.
his millions. Why does nobody ever respond to these?
It's be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
It is.
Poor guy.
here you go. A Dell Fusion IO Drive 2, 3 terabyte.
Yeah.
Still
Here's an exercise for our viewers.
$1,200.
Here's an exercise for our viewers. Try to download the drivers for that. Go ahead. I'll wait.
He's waiting. Not sure what we're waiting for, but he's waiting.
I bet Dell still hosts
Just
them
run
somewhere.
Dell System Detect. It will do it. He says, watching it uninstall the USB 3 drivers to replace the chipset driver.
It's possible it's on the Dell site. Maybe.
Dell-support.sandisk.com. It took me
It's
about
there?
30 seconds
There
to
for
Google.
download?
Yeah.
Okay.
all like you have
So
the IO
hard.
scale, IO Drive 2, IO memory, PX600, IO Sphere, IO memory SX350.
Well, that's
Damn,
where I'm
he
going
didn't have
to
to
go
wait
with
for
the
it.
This
drivers.
is only compatible with Windows 98 SE.
Yeah, Windows compatibility stuff. You're on your own.
16-bit, yeah.
There was one point where I was trying to download drivers for the for an IO drive, and
Yeah, you just got lucky that Dell used them at some point.
yeah, because
Otherwise, those would have been totally gone.
yeah, because if not for that, there was like a site you had to like register for to gain access to the portal, and like they never contacted you back when you. Didn't matter how many people inside the company you emailed either.
The dead company, I guess, SanDisk technically.
The purchase.
Oh, that's almost as good as Creative when they launched their Blaster X, and they wouldn't respond to my emails until I reached out to the PR guy to say, by the way, this Blaster X site that you're giving codes away for, it's not up.
Man.
Oh!
And then what was
Look
there?
at all the cheap IO drives you can buy.
It was just an Apache splash page of, hi, this is going to be your website once you build it.
Holy crap! How much is the 320?
$99.
Oh my god!
It would actually be interesting. I bet, like,
$99.
think of if you had like a ZFS array and you threw that at like an L2 arc, it would actually still be good, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
A large array
Now,
of
what are you talking about? I was too busy with
IO
stuff.
drives for $100.
weird used old enterprise
for
SSDs.
$100.
No, not
What?
MATLAB. Josh,
But I like MATLAB.
No meth labs.
quit smoking
Exactly.
that. Quit smoking that.
MATLAB
Josh.
is invalid. They index their arrays at 1.
Okay, nobody actually likes MATLAB.
Yep.
That's a good thing.
No.
What?
Index their arrays at 1?
Yes.
Not 0?
Oh, it won?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
fuck that.
I was like, come on, Alex. I know you're with me here.
I was like, wait,
He
what?
was in denial there. They couldn't possibly mean it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Oh no. Yeah. No.
There's some stupid reason that, but yeah.
I'm curious to know what the stupid reason is.
I don't remember.
Because even if it was valid, it's still a stupid reason.
Uh-huh.
Wait, as we're saying, if it's stupid,
The
and it
reason
works,
might be valid, but it's still stupid.
It's like you could have just indexed it at 0. It still works at 1.
So, Ericon, did you go up to Fusion IO offices and try to steal some of their gigabytes?
all the bytes.
Yeah, he said he was in the same building as Fusion IO.
He also said that everyone seemed to hate their lives. That worked out.
Yeah,
Because everybody was trying to make it bootable.
How does
Just
that differ
need
from
EFI
any other
to
office
exist.
building?
Yeah, I was like, this is describing any tech industry office.
Fair.
Make them bootable now. UEFI.
That should be an article.
should be.
How to boot off your Fusion.
No, I mean, you
Okay.
still
Just
have to
because
make
you
the
First,
can.
buy
driver.
a pair of boots.
Somebody still has to make the driver. Anyway,
Slutty. See,
Anyhow.
nice.
So,
are we
Yeah,
ready?
do
he's,
a show,
ready to
or
do
is
this?
Alan not gonna do a pick?
Oh.
Giving away all the secrets.
It's fine. I'm waiting for him to queue up the tabs.
I have the tabs open.
Bridge crew.
Ryan's
The
on.
air turn off.
Knew it.
Getting kind
No,
of
that's okay.
Uh-huh.
It's a lie. It's not Ryan Shroud.
Where's Ryan? Oh, in the
He's
chat.
typing things because
He's
you're
on a
logged into his
plane.
computer.
Actually, I don't have a link for that other thing yet, but I'll figure it out.
You should figure it out.
Anyway.
Or I'm going to replace it with Tang DLC. Because there's got to be such a
Tang?
thing.
No.
Everybody likes powdered orange juice. You're
Powdered
a communist
orange juice.
if you don't.
You know, good goes well with powdered orange juice.
Cocaine.
Vodka?
Vodka.
I was gonna say powdered vodka, but cocaine also works.
Is there any difference, really, Alex?
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah,
Come on.
same difference. Fine.
I have to reposition my laptop.
That get you excited, Ken?
I just want to
Let's
witness.
look at the Beer Advocate. Galaxy Down Under. A Galaxy IPA. Why are you drinking an IPA? IPAs are from the devil.
I am.
The devil?
You need to use your fancy laptop.
I am using my.
It's like the Cold War of IPAs.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
I see the
who can
shot.
make the biggest, baddest IPA and still not have anyone drink it?
Not these
Because
guys, because it's
awful.
actually nicely balanced.
No, the
It's
issue
just
is
a bit
people
hoppy.
do drink it, Josh.
Yeah, well, only morons who
Uh-huh.
want to burn out their brain cells. See, what
So
happens
what's your
is
problem?
it stops being hops and it becomes Tyne-Par, and that starts clogging the neurons.
Yep.
And it makes IPAs make you stupid.
Okay.
God help us all.
So I'm glad I don't drink those.
I like an IPA every now, but apparently that makes me stupid.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna cut down on
You know what
we
else?
could tell,
It
but
helps you
we
grow
weren't going to
breasts.
say anything.
it. Wait, what?
It helps you grow breasts.
Okay.
It's
There's
a
a protein in
pseudo-estrogen.
hops which actually does promote breast growth in males. So far, I'm very disappointed.
I don't want to hear the story behind that, Jeremy. I mean, if you're standing in the mirror with your woman suit on,
He has empirical
caressing your IPA enhanced breasts, then that's. I'm sorry, I've gone too far.
Yeah, well, next thing you know, you're going to be in the hole waiting to put the lotion on.
Maybe I
No?
can start digging the hole in my basement and yeah,
I'll provide the
never
bucket
mind.
and the string.
And here I am just sitting here with a fat tire.
Fat Tire is not hoppy. It's a well-balanced beer. It's the big seller for New Belgium Brewery in Fort Collins. Except, of course, they opened a new brewery in North Carolina. So you have two different flavors of Fat Tire because it's not exactly the same.
That North Kakalaki Fat Tire.
North Kakalaki.
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready to start this thing?
For the love of God.
Okay.
Please.
All right. What is it? Okay. Hey, everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode number 508, being recorded August 1st, 2018. I'm Alan Malmontano.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Ken Addison.
And there's no Ryan. He's supposedly on his way back from traveling to yet another thing. He's just going to be a traveling man for like the next month or something.
At least.
At least. So since he's ping-ponging all around, we'll just cover it this week. We didn't do one last week, right?
No.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It was just like, it would have just been me and not even Alex.
Nobody to run the show, as it turns out. Like,
Yeah.
Like that side of the show.
I mean, I guess I could have sat over there, but you know.
I mean, people would pay to hear Alan monologue for 90 minutes, I'm sure.
At the old office, I ranted for like an hour after one of the podcasts, and
Mailbag Part 2.
it was kind of like an unofficial mailbag, yeah, just answering the chat. But anyway, so yeah, welcome to the podcast. Podcast@pcpro.com is an email address that I'm not sure if we ever check anymore.
No.
But-
I don't know why that's still on there.
But
to
you
be
should
honest.
email it anyway, and then we'll try to get Ryan to check it. Should send like 100 emails.
I'm
to
not
it.
even sure it goes anywhere anymore, to be honest.
I mean,
But you should find out.
Don't let
Yeah.
that stop you.
Yeah, don't
You
let that
can still
stop you.
email it.
yeah, exactly. PCPro.com/podcast is where you probably found this, unless you've just had it added in iTunes for like years and years, and I don't know.
They just keep showing up. I don't know why.
We're on episode 508. When you hit 520, they've been weekly, so that's like 10 flipping years worth. Holy crap!
Longer than that, but yeah.
Jesus.
No.
We started monthly and then it was sort of bi-weekly and
So you're saying it's definitely been more than 10 years? All right.
Now what? You know, I wasn't listening. I was talking to somebody who was in the company telling me some news. And what's going on for 10 years?
The podcast
This.
that you're on, the thing.
Oh, yeah, it was bi-weekly in 2008 when I started because I started in January. But then about 6 months after I started, it became weekly because Ryan wanted more money to pay me.
So it started in
oh my
January.
god.
Started in January 2008, huh?
The bi-weekly
Well, I mean, just
podcast,
the podcast.
audio.
Like
And
episodes.
was
And then
before
that
that.
summer,
Oh no.
that
No,
summer
it was
we went
monthly.
to video. He
Oh.
sent me a webcam. I upgraded my internet.
The worst mistake ever. man.
upgrade,
God
that
damn.
internet upgrade worked out so well.
So good.
Can we just go back to audio?
Good we?
Yes, please.
Go back
Well,
to
because the nice thing was when it was Len, Ryan, and I, we just did it, recorded it, and then it went up whenever the hell we felt like it. Just like, you got some time to spare tonight? Yeah, sure. You got half an hour. Let's do it. Done for a month. Not, oh crap, it's Wednesday. Am I going to get home in time? Oh my God. The lifestyle now.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get the show on the road. Twitter.com/PCPer, Twitter.com/Ryan Shrout. He usually has internet on an airplane, so if you tweet at him right now, you might get him on an airplane.
I bet he's probably pretty bored.
Yeah, he's probably doing some typing of something, whatever. Where is the spam list thing? Spam list thing podcast.
Dude, we only talk about the spam list all the time.
Well, I know.
You
But,
not,
there
you
it
not have
is.
this in your brain burned?
No, I
into
was
the
looking
flesh?
for the
It's such a
tab.
complex URL.
I was trying to
Yeah.
find the tab.
The tab,
Yes.
as in like the 70s Diet
No.
Cola.
To show,
Yeah, we don't
Cam.
sell tab
to
here.
show the people the site. See, there you go. It's pcpro.com/subscribe. Give us your name, your email address. We'll let you know when we're about to live stream pretty much anything. Most of the time it's just a podcast, but
I wonder if there's going to
occasionally-
be any live streams in the next 3 months.
There might be lots.
I think PC
Nice.
hardware is just stopping after like this month. So I mean, everyone's on vacation. No one's going to do anything. So it's probably going to
Yeah.
be pretty quiet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very quiet. There's no Hot Chips. There's no Gamescom or whatever the hell it's called, or you
No
know,
SIGGRAPH.
Nothing.
it's crap.
Okay.
NVIDIA ain't invading my neck of the woods. Nothing.
Next up, patreon.com/PCPer if you want to help us like keep the lights on and stuff. What do we got next? Oh yeah, we did some mailbags.
You did some mailbags,
We did
huh?
some mailbags. There was 2 of them since it's been a couple of weeks.
That's Ryan's. That's the wrong mailbag.
There's Ryan's mailbag.
I could tell because it's
And then-
freshly shorn.
I did a mailbag where I
Oh,
was
there you go.
demonstrating
There.
the size of. Never mind.
That's the mailbag with the laser treatment.
The laser treatment. Okay.
Yeah, laser treatment.
Lasers.
Laser? Didn't you get laser treatment?
I did. It didn't really work.
Well, in
you
the
can
fine
see it.
print, it says not for use on Italians.
Yes.
Did you bring his shoes with you?
Oh my goodness, he's purple. It's not even red this time. It's just going straight to plaid or something. Oh man. Merch. We got a Teespring. Well, actually, what's the actual URL for the merch?
JoshTech.com.
JoshTech.com.
Oh yeah. JoshTech.com.
2K.
With 2 Ks, just like this spelled right there.
Look at that beautiful Josh Tech print.
That's,
Only
that's
$20, and you too could hang it.
it's
on your
behind,
wall.
It's behind Josh's head. His purple little head. Yes. Josh's purple little head.
Yes, it
That's
is behind that as well.
And it is veined.
All right.
And he was cut.
Let's get into the dang reviews and get this thing over with. EVGA, before it gets any worse. EVGA Supernova 650 watt G3 power supply. Is it supposed to mean like it's the 3rd version of this? I
think
guess.
that's just a model name.
Well, the original ones were G2,
What happened
According-
to G0?
according to Lee. I don't know if there was a 0 or a 1. Anyway, modular power supply from EVGA. Big surprise. 650 watt runs, $110. Pricing's pretty reasonable on all those for good power supplies. The lower power models up to 650 watts carry a 7-year warranty and then a 10-year for all the higher ones. Pretty good. It's been a while since I've had a power supply fail.
Yeah, no doubt.
What do we got for what do you think of these things? I assume it was good. They're usually good from EVGA.
Outstanding would be the quote.
Lee gave it average choice. Wow. Huh.
Yeah, for the ripple and noise, it was outstanding. Voltage regulation, as you'd expect. It blew straight through 80 plus gold. 92% efficiency, I believe, puts it in platinum territory, which, is decent. And he shares the same complaint I do. Why do you make 24-pin ATX connectors modular? Are you gonna run a system without it?
Yeah, that's a good
I
question.
mean, people like changing cables to like custom length and custom sleeve cables and stuff.
This means you can't replace it with RGB cables. This is a good thing.
Lame.
I'm okay with the CPU power cable like being separate
But
from
how
the
much,
ATX.
I know we always talk about the modular connectors do increase resistance,
Yes.
but on a 12 volt, 5 volt, 3.3 volt rail, does it matter that much when you have all of the power load going through different rails?
I mean,
Does
They
it
go with probably not.
there still is a voltage drop across the extra connector, but it
Yeah.
has feedback, so it's kind of moot,
Yeah, so does it really matter in the end?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I for one will bitch about anything. I mean, just give me a topic and I can find a complaint about it. But this just seems,
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason they go fully modular when they do it is just like the whole cable aftermarket thing, sleeved cables and everything. Because if they're fixed, then okay, now you can't just order that replacement set of cables. You have to sleeve them
you
yourself.
can.
No, you can't. Like if they're, I mean, you
break out the
can.
soldering iron.
You're gonna,
Just
yeah,
break
you're
out
gonna
the soldering iron.
Just don't lick that capacitor while you're doing it.
yeah. I don't know. I see it.
You know,
either way.
I'm not going to tell you how to run your life or end it.
Okay. What's up next? Corsair Crystal series. Wait a minute. Oh, I know why I've seen this before. We talked about it on Twitch last week.
You don't read our website?
Well, that too, but I was talking about it also. I don't usually just sit there at my desk and just start talking out loud to myself about all of the reviews on the
Sure
site.
You don't.
Listen, Ken, just because you do. All right. Sebastian reviewed the Corsair Crystal Series 280X RGB tempered glass micro ATX case. This was kind of like towards the back of the pack from my reading of this.
I don't know, but Sebastian's so dreamy.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah.
That thick
I mean-
hair, those piercing blue eyes.
I mean, it's a sharp looking case. It's just that between the tempered
Those
glass.
photography skills.
Yeah, well, there's that.
There is that.
Between the tempered glass.
Oh, his cabling skills, too.
Well, yeah, he's got that
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much to like about Sebastian.
You guys. Anyway.
It's kind of small. If
It's
you
kind of
think
small.
about it.
Yeah. Mhm. How purple is Josh now?
I'm only chartreuse.
Okay. Just plum. Even though it was at the back of the pack, like the spread is not very wide. Right, Josh? How purple is he now?
It
Let's just see how
looks
purple
bigger
he
than
can
it
get.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. Looks a lot wider than it is, actually. Yeah. Man, I don't know what's up with his color on his camera, but there's no way he's actually that purple right now.
No, I'm not that purple.
There's just no way.
Yeah, his camera's coming through a bit red.
Okay.
That's not even funny.
It is
It
now.
never is.
Anyhow, the RGB is controlled by the new Corsair IQ application, which I think controls all your things now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Corsair keyboards, mice, all the RGBs in your case, that sort of stuff. Pretty cool. Case is $160 though, so that's on the high side.
Yeah, that's too much. I think there's a non-RGB version that's a bit cheaper. I don't remember how much.
Yeah.
You just don't get the RGB fans. I actually have the previous version of this case for my system at home, the Air 240. I actually really like the dual chamber design. It's easy to build in, but still being kind of relatively compact.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to really worry about cable management. As you saw, you can just kind of shove everything in the back quarter, half of the case, whatever, and have a clean front view. But of course, it has tempered glass on both sides on this one, I think. So you're still going to see your cable mess.
So then you just have to bring Sebastian over so he can wire it all up for you.
Yeah, I think he offers that as a service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sebastian,
don't ask
He's
him to-
inexpensive.
Just don't ask him to do dual processors or
And
That's his
supply your own
specialty.
harnesses.
yeah.
That is supply your own harnesses.
Yeah.
hmm
Can you fix my color? Seriously, it's
That's not. That's you're the one with the white balance, man.
yes.
Yes, there you go.
Fixed it for you.
Cyan looks much better on him.
Yeah. He's underwater.
Yep.
Now he's cyanotic. It's okay.
Okay. Next up. No, Ken, I'll just let you run with this one.
That's a dangerous thought.
Mhm.
So we've talked about this for, I don't know, it seems like months now on the podcast, mentioning it on and off, but I finally posted my review of this, the 51NB ThinkPad X210. Now, people who might know their ThinkPads but haven't listened to the podcast might say, but Ken, the ThinkPad X210 never existed. And
Sure
I say,
didn't.
you're right, until now.
And yet there it is.
Thanks,
right in front of
China. So again, for people who haven't heard about this, it's essentially there's this like weird community group in China that's doing custom motherboards for ThinkPads, and they've been doing it for a while. They've gone through a couple of different models. If you scroll down, I have the list in there somewhere. Like a lot of iconic ThinkPad designs. Scroll up a little bit.
I'm looking.
Let me just pull up the review on my screen. That'd probably make more sense.
You got me digging around for. Okay.
Yeah, like the
need a better
X60
drive,
and
Ken.
X61, the T60 and T61, just some of the iconic kind of post IBM ThinkPads, but still retain things like the 7-row keyboard, which is really nice, and sort of the old chassis design and the ThinkLight, and just, the classic sort of ThinkPad.
The nipple.
Yeah,
Don't forget the nipple.
The nipple's still around, but it's they have
Not
the
the
dedicated buttons for the nipple. And there's this third-party community making drop-in motherboards that add modern processors to these chassis. So the one that I was most interested in is this X210, which is based on the X200 and the X201, which is the 12.2-ish, 12.2, 12.4, something like that, ThinkPad from about 2009, 2010.
That was Ryan's like workhorse for,
Ryan
for
used
the longest
Ryan
time.
used these for a long time. He used the several generations of them. And I like the form factor, the 12-inch screen. It's built like a tank. You can add a 9-cell battery on the back. So the idea of having an 8th gen quad-core processor in these really kind of stuck in the back of my head when I saw this. So I decided to go through the process. There are two ways you can do it. You can either order the motherboard and processor combo off of some pretty sketchy ass sites like Taobao and try to figure out how to import them into the US, or you can deal with, there's this company called LCD Fans who deals exclusively through a Facebook page and email, and they will essentially acquire a new old stock chassis, install one of these motherboards in it, do all the modding for you. There's like a little bit of drumline you need to do to the case to get the standoffs and stuff to fit, and ship it to you as a bare bones configuration without storage, without RAM, but everything else ready to go. Wi-Fi, processor, heatsink, all that stuff. So I wired about $1,000 to China.
To a guy on Facebook.
Just to a random person.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, about a month later, I got this laptop and I started to take a look at it. It's a weird thing. Getting this laptop that seemed essentially brand new from China, but I knew was old. I don't know.
Yeah.
I installed a 512 gigabyte 960 Evo in it. It has an M.2 slot. It also has a SATA connection, 32 gigs of RAM. Kind of decked it out to see what we could get out of it. Ran some performance benchmarks and severely disappointed, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the box,
SSD was doing something weird there.
yeah, I didn't.
We know it doesn't normally do that. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily look into
Power
that.
management,
Yeah.
potentially.
So out of the box, it's towards the slowest of any of the 8th gen U series quad core CPUs we've ever tested.
Yeah, but it's in a form factor that you can't get that in that.
Well, this form factor originally shipped with 25 watt CPUs. This was before Intel introduced the 15 watt CPUs. So in theory, the thermal management solution should be able to handle this.
Right.
So Alan and I started doing a bit of digging. We ended up tearing it apart and applying liquid metal instead of the really just crappily applied
It was pretty
thermal
bad.
paste.
Do you have that picture?
Yeah,
there you go.
that's how it shipped to me. Not great.
Yeah.
So we took it apart, put some liquid metal on it. I ended up undervolting it a bit. Still never really got the performance to where it needed to be. So then I kind of cranked up the turbo frequency and I got to be competitive with a lot of the modern 8th gen laptops. However, it was immediately hitting 100C, sort of the thermal throttle point for these notebooks.
Yeah.
But using Intel's XTU utility, you can kind of tune whether you want it to be more aggressive with the clock speeds or quieter.
Mm-hmm.
Once we had it liquid metaled and in the stock configuration, it was actually a pretty quiet machine. The fans didn't necessarily spin up until you were at 100% for a while. But yeah, the other disappointing thing was battery life.
Oof.
So I installed a 9-cell battery in it, a new third-party 9-cell, because the Lenovo original parts are very difficult to find at this point.
Right.
And it got just above 5 hours on our battery test, which is it's a web browsing battery test at 180 nits screen brightness.
On the 9-cell battery?
on a 85 watt hour battery. Not great.
So what's that Dell Inspiron 137373? How many watt hours is that?
I don't know, much less. It was it was like a 3-cell, I think. I don't remember the exact amount, but yeah, it's really,
I wonder if that
it's not a
battery.
capacity issue. It's really
You think it's just blowing through is it just running hot all the time, basically?
I just think that the BIOS isn't properly tuned. It mostly seems to be kind of a test reference BIOS
Yeah.
that you have access to all of the options, and actually someone ported one of the open firmwares to it recently this week, like Open Boot or whatever it's called. I forget exactly what the name is, because it doesn't have any of the protections. You can flash whatever firmware you want to it. It's essentially a development platform that somebody's shipping. They're engineering sample CPUs, which isn't legal. It's a very strange thing. As much as I wanted to like it, I don't think it's for me. I really need something with more battery life. So,
Wait, did you just say they're shipping engineering samples?
oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
shipping engineering
Oh,
samples. Nothing about this is sanctioned
Okay.
in any way.
Just making sure.
I mean, probably not illegal.
Core
Probably,
boot is the name. not
Nothing
Open Boot.
suspicious to see here. Move along.
probably
Move
not illegal
along.
in
But
China.
that's kind of a pretty laptop,
It
though.
is.
I mean, if you can handle the poor battery performance and a little bit, warm on the legs, that's such a classic design.
It is, and
It's and the keyboard feel is
it's amazing.
Awesome.
I didn't want to give it
Mhm.
up.
Aw.
There actually
And
is.
the heat is a feature. That's so you can make ramen while you're working.
well, he lives in Ohio. He can go to Wisconsin and really utilize it.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't mention is, so it has a 16:10 display, which is obviously something you don't see anymore. And this actually has an upgraded display option. It's a 1900 by 1200 display, which is an option that never shipped in this notebook. It was kind of a third-party display that people have retrofitted into it, but it looks damn good.
Yeah.
16:10 is still an awesome screen aspect ratio, as it turns out, even though we've gotten away
It
from
is.
it.
I use those every day, and
Yeah,
I
me too.
never want to get past it. But unfortunately, I will eventually.
Yeah. So there's a lot more detail in the review. This is going to be my plug. As I mentioned in the review,
How much are you selling it for?
I will sell it for what I have in it. You don't have to wire money to China. Just send me an email and we can work something out if you're interested in this notebook. I know people don't want to wait 4 weeks to maybe get something from China, and this isn't exactly the right laptop for me. So if anyone's interested in it, seriously, send me an email and we'll work something out. But beyond that,
Did you
it's just
guys
gonna
go
sit
through
around
some
here.
interesting BIOS updates and advancements through that you could do a little bit more tweakability?
Honestly, every friggin' option in the BIOS is there. You could do a ton of tuning if you actually know what you're doing and you weren't me. It's essentially a development platform.
it's everything.
Every single option is unlocked. It's incredible to look at the BIOS. And actually, they've been really fairly receptive about BIOS updates. So when I received this machine, it didn't have, or sleep didn't really work. When it tried to wake up from sleep, the display wouldn't turn on because it's a EDP display that they've kind of hacked in. It supports LVDS and EDP displays, and just kind of wasn't working right. But like a week after I got it, they released a new BIOS, and sleep works now. Amazing! I never would have thought that to be a thing.
Better third-party support than
Than
like
a lot
the
of actual
manufacturers.
laptops. Yeah, since it's
Than Lenovo,
a very
yeah.
dedicated community behind this, they're not making a whole lot of money off this. They do it because they want it and because other people are interested in it.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing.
Sweet.
So there you go. It's something that I don't think you'll see anywhere else because no one is stupid enough to import one on the whim. But
True.
Ken,
yeah.
I love you for doing this.
Oh, thanks, Josh. I had to know. I saw this about 6 months ago first, and I was like, it just kept thinking about it. I'm like, I gotta know what this is like. This could be the perfect
you had
laptop.
the itch.
Yeah.
I appreciate you scratched it. Now for sale at eBay at www.ebay.
JoshTech.com.
Yeah,
Alright.
throw a
You
sticker on
guys
there.
should get some silver markers, autograph that, sell it off.
If I was keeping it, I was gonna laser engrave it, but I'm not keeping it. So.
All right.
Next up, Sebastian reviewed the HyperX Pulsefire Surge RGB gaming mouse. HyperX is it they just don't even call it Kingston anymore? Like what?
No, it's like a Aorus. I mean,
Oh,
yeah, it's Gigabyte, but
okay.
Yeah, it's their gaming peripheral brand, I think.
Okay. So, sharp looking gaming mouse. Probably not a lot to say here. Yes, it has RGBs.
How could you have a mouse without RGBs?
Of
They're using
course,
Omron switches, which is nice.
of course, the photography is amazing.
the PMW 3389, like every other mouse out there.
So I guess this software controls the mice and the headsets, maybe, from Corsair or from Kingston.
I don't know exactly how their
I don't know.
their system works, but yeah, I imagine
Well, I
it
wouldn't be
controls all of their
surprised because
peripherals.
they've also got the RAM with RGBs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sebastian gave it a gold award, $70. Not bad.
I would like to note that the ads have moved past what they were 2 weeks ago.
No more lemons strapped
Organic
to
protein.
things.
Has
Oh.
Josh
Now
been
it's
on our
organic
Amazon
protein.
recently?
Probably. All right. Let's see. Moving on. Hey, the ad disappeared. Interesting.
Speaking of,
Oh yeah. What's next up is an ad that will be inserted by Ryan once Ryan has returned. He's not back yet.
it's a hell of an intro.
Wow, Alan, the enthusiasm just oozes from you.
I'm sure.
The
I'm
energy.
sure that
He must
Alex
be
is
low
just
on
gonna cut all
energy
that
and
off
needs
anyway.
some sort of RX bar or something.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about testosterone cream?
No, I'd rather do the RX bar probably.
Wouldn't we all?
Mm-hmm.
It's smaller in diameter.
Oh yeah, now we're have to cut everything, all of it. We're cutting it all.
So you'd have to go back about 5 minutes, Alex.
We do have to
Sorry.
go back 5 minutes. It has to be PG for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. No swearing, no booze, no
Right.
nudity.
That's never happened on this
No.
show.
Dude.
Nudity.
Yeah. I mean, you keep flipping the screen over to Josh's purple, swollen head. So, Anyway. I have no idea how we're going to pick up in a pseudo manner. So I'll just go. I'll just
Pseudo
go.
pickup.
I'll just go.
You can say something like, "Thank you, Ryan, for that invigorating commercial. We now continue with our news, which starts with the GTX 1170 rumors."
And that's exactly how it's going to be, because I'm not going to say anything else. And we're just going to go on to the rumor.
Oh, I guess I can get rid of my dummy laptop now.
Yeah, get rid of the dummy laptop.
Yeah, get rid of that
Yeah,
damn thing.
I'm an idiot. I bought a Mac.
He bought
Get it
another.
over
Ken
with
bought
it.
another Mac because he doesn't
Shocking.
have enough abuse in his life.
Well, as it turns out, I have lots of access to PCs, but none to Macs. So if I'm going to pay for one,
Yeah,
So
we're
is it
trying to
running
wean you
100
off, but it's
megahertz
not
now,
working.
Ken? Is
yeah,
it hot?
Yeah, I did. For the record, I didn't buy this MacBook until they patched the thermal issue, and it works pretty well now.
Yeah.
I would not have done it otherwise. I'm not that stupid.
I'm just going to cross my fingers for you that keyboard works next week.
Well, that's what warranties are for.
Yeah. So rumor, GTX 1170 benchmark scores supposedly leaked. They seemed like a little too hard, they seemed over the top compared to what I would have expected out of an 1170. Like, I think, weren't they like beating a 1080 Ti? Which just seems...
Okay, this is fake, but I think this is a good time for us to talk about what we might expect, because I think I made it to the next news article is about the NVIDIA event they announced.
Well,
at
then let's go to
Gamescom.
that one while we're talking.
Just to bring up the 11 series is kind of why I put that in there. That did not seem like a real leak at all. It was
It's too good to be true for that. I don't see an 1170 beating a 1080 Ti.
and like the
That's
physics
just-
score doesn't match the CPU really. Like it's
Yeah, it's fake.
not going to be running at 2.5 gigahertz core. I think we can pretty safely assume that.
Right. Anyway. So, you want to talk about the Gamescom thing at all? Or no?
Yeah,
I mean, there's going to be a thing, right?
Yeah, they sent out an event, actually a public event invite. So You can sign up. There's an Eventbrite link in the article. They're just saying an event at the day before Gamescom, where they'll be loaded with new exclusive hands-on demos of the hottest upcoming games, stage presentations from the world's biggest game developers, and spectacular surprises.
All right.
So it sounds like we're going to have Jensen on stage in Germany, which you could make some assumptions about what they might be talking about. I will say that Ryan and I will be there.
I'm sure they'll have
I can
Tom,
make assumptions about what he's going to be wearing.
I'm sure they'll have Tom backstage.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know anything, so I can say this. This is probably going to be new graphics cards. I have no inside information, so I feel free saying that.
This is probably...
This has to be it.
I couldn't imagine them not at least talking about
If this
graphics cards.
wasn't it, I don't know what the hell they're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, we've seen a couple other rumors, and one of the weirdest ones that I saw, and this was sort of part of the emails going around to people being invited, and they sort of mentioned, we're leading with the 1180, and there'll be an 1170 coming out in 1160, but towards the end of September is going to be the 1180 Plus.
Yeah, there's that
Which-
weird...
What happened to TI or TI, depending on how you want to say it, and was that the reason they changed it? Because everyone says Plus the same way.
I feel like you could still have a Plus SKU than do the TI, because the TI usually comes 6 to 8 months later. Like
Absolutely.
So they could have a Plus that's maybe, I don't know, I would say more memory, but I don't know why you would need
That was the same
a
thing
lot
I'm
more
thinking
memory.
too. Well, because of our wonderful, brilliant commenters that are constantly screaming about how we don't do proper memory measurements, and then every time we do, it doesn't come close to filling out the
Yeah.
amount of RAM on a 1080 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I can totally see it, and then we'll have this huge thing where 1 megabyte of the RAM will be slightly slower than the rest of it, and
probably.
it's just going to go all over the place again.
Josh, you might have some
I'm
insight on
looking
this.
forward to it.
Do you think GDDR6 will be so limited that they might release like an 1180 as maybe like a 6 or 8 gig card and then release a 16 gig card pretty soon?
No,
I wouldn't think so either.
no, no. I mean, GDDR6 is just an evolution of GDDR5, and it's not like a huge jump like HBM memory was, which had issues due to just how hard it was to not. The memory itself was not hard to manufacture, but there was not as much demand, so they didn't manufacture as much, and then integrated it all in with the big old GPU. It was problematic.
Yeah.
It was an extra step. It was extra money that you really couldn't absorb easily for the performance that it gave. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big HBM2 fan, but in terms of just price, I think the GDDR is still, it's going to be the way to go. And Micron has been doing GDDR6 for the past 7 months, 8
Oh, wow.
months now since they announced, and they've been ramping up. So I don't think
Yeah.
memory is going to be an issue. I mean,
Good.
NVIDIA is not a dumb company. They're not going
True.
to say, well, we only have enough GDDR6 for 10,000 pieces in between the 1170 and 1180, so we're just going to do it right now.
Right now.
No.
And we'll charge double Titan prices.
It's not going to
No.
happen.
Yeah.
Now, and here's some prognostication. How about on the professional level? Do you think with the next generation of professional cards coming out, they might consider delving into HBM2?
I mean,
Even a thing?
they kind of already have with the Quadro GV100. So
Yes.
I could fully see that. I guess it would depend on what architecture they're going to use for lower end Quadros. If it's going to be Volta, there were some leaks of like GV104, 106, I think, recently, or if it will be the same Turing rumored that the gaming stuff will be based on. I don't know. It's a lot in the air. We have SIGGRAPH and then Gamescom. I think we're probably going to get some announcements soon. We probably won't have to guess.
Then hot chips.
Yeah. Do you think that presentation's actually going to happen?
Which one?
The one that got pulled from the schedule completely? Do you think they're just actually going to give it?
There's no telling.
Because I think the NVIDIA event at Gamescom is the same day that the Hot Chips talk was scheduled.
Is it?
I thought it was. thought it was the 20th.
Maybe they'll sneak it in
Yeah.
just to, to
I-
keep
I don't
people on their toes.
Oh, wow.
There's a dog howling in the background.
All right. Next up is actually Josh.
What if I don't want to talk about it, Alan?
Well, you do now. You just gonna
I've
have
been
to talk
talking
about
a lot so far, and so far I haven't said anything of interest, and this certainly will not be of interest.
It won't be.
Maybe.
I mean, really?
Do you like cheap motherboards?
I mean, who doesn't
I
like cheap
cannot lie.
motherboards?
Do you like pointing out errors on slide decks?
We do like errors on slide decks.
That is actually my favorite.
AMD because there's
Yeah.
some doozies on this. It's got
How dare you
6
say something so-
USB
but
3.0.
they-
Oh, it's supposed to be 2.0. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I'll jump into this because, well, I wrote it. AMD released the B450 officially chipset. B450 chipset officially
Mhm.
yesterday, or yeah, it was on my birthday. No, but none of you bastards ever said happy birthday to me, but
We didn't want
waiting.
to fill you with false hopes.
Okay, well, anyway, I made it this far. I can handle, being ignored. But anyway, AMD B450. It is an extension of the B350, but with a couple of changes. They've improved the design. Whether they did different manufacturing, it's about 2 watts lower TDP than the B350. AMD is really pushing this to make near enthusiast class motherboards under $120. And so you'll see pretty well stocked up stuff from $60 up through $120. The things you're going to have to look out for if you're attempting to overclock is, how they handle the power phases, because there's been some interesting developments with people, like you can buy at Asus and other guys saying that, hey, we've got this, 8+3 power phase. And then they really take a look at the chips involved, and it's like, no, it's like a 4.443. It just is. Got to be careful. But
Thank God for BuildZoid, keeping everyone honest, because no one else looks
Exactly.
at the VRM layouts that much.
Yeah,
That's a very specific niche, and he nails it.
he does, and he did a good job kind of exposing some of the marketing
Yeah.
involved. But it's got most of the features of the top end X470. I mean, it's got all the USB 3.1, Gen 2, Gen 1, USB 2.0, SATA 6, all that kind of connectivity. It's got like 6 lanes of PCIe 2.0. It's a solid chipset. It's everything you need if you want to do single GPU. Now, in these motherboards, it's not allowed to bifurcate the CPU by 16 into 2x8. Not officially. They may put other chips in there to get around that with some SKUs, but again, it's not official. Otherwise, they have to go through the South Bridge, and your second GPU will be a PCI 2.0 by 4 connection. So it's going to be slower, going to have issues if you really want to run Crossfire. I don't think SLI will be applied to any of these, but at least with the X470, SLI is certainly, supported. Again, lower power, got all the features, lower price. And so this is what, AMD is really aiming at is to give you a product that you've got a pretty solid motherboard that's going to be from $60 to $100 for the most part. You can put in any AMD CPU in there, and it's going to run at stock speeds without a problem. You're going to have to, really work on overclocking because, well, the Ryzen 2000 series still doesn't overclock worth being. So you're going to have to really tweak to get anything out of there.
But at least
But
you have the option,
if you-
unlike B360.
Yeah. But it's a solid product. You can do memory overclocking. I mean, the official of the top Ryzen is 2933 megahertz memory, but you can easily just take that to 3200 and get a pretty significant boost all over, because not only is your memory faster, but the interconnects between the CPU cores, the CCX it's all faster. So you might as well do it.
They're comparing
And these things are very positive, and AMD still has an advantage in terms of price performance and price per core over Intel. So when you add in, a $70 motherboard that does everything you want it to, that's significant savings. So the B450 is a nice chipset at the right time. It's kind of the old 970 for AM3. It's got pretty much all the features that you want, especially if you're running a single GPU as the higher end 990.
I like how they compare it to the Z370 here,
scroll up.
but then they
No, scroll up. They're comparing a Radeon or Ryzen 5 2400G to an 8600K. That's not really close.
Not
yeah.
so much.
Like the
But
i5
then
is going to
scroll
win in
down,
both
it's a little bit
CPU
better.
and gaming performance.
Well, the thing that they're really talking about here is that you've got 4 cores, 8 threads, but you also have integrated graphics that can do, for the most part, 1080p. And your 8600K is going to give you less graphical performance.
Yeah. They're using,
even though you have, 6 actual cores.
Yeah. Alan, they're using Z370 motherboards because that's the cheapest one you can overclock, and they're using unlocked parts,
okay.
which is valid. Absolutely. Like it's a major advantage AMD has and something Intel should do.
Yeah. Yeah. And the slider right here doesn't look that great for Intel either. Like, here's all these parts that we sell that are unlocked, and
Yeah.
Intel and their silly
Although they
market
mentioned the
segmentation.
A320 chipset, which I don't think anyone has ever seen.
Not really. It's like an OEM only thing, and it uses all pretty much the I/O from the CPU.
Yeah.
So
That's why in brackets underneath it says in memory only.
yeah. There's just a selection of the motherboards
That looks like you
you'll
got
see.
some micro ATX boards there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. No, we have a Asus ITX board in, I believe.
Is that the one that's on the top left?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's a good looking board.
Yeah.
And it's got everything you kind of need to do single GPU and have the I/O that you want. I mean, they all come with one by NVMe slot that comes out the CPU. So ITX it's going to be a cost effective thing. And how many people do you think overclock ITX?
Not a lot.
It's an interesting
Not
question.
a lot, because you're so space constrained that airflow is an issue. So neat.
All right.
And speaking of that,
yeah,
I mean,
speaking of that.
Gigabyte spewed out a couple, including a mini ITX, 2 micro ATXs, and 3 ATXs.
All right.
And we're nice enough to sort of give a naming scheme that makes a little bit of sense.
Oh, you mean they're not like, whatever, just rattle off a bunch of letters and numbers each time?
No.
No?
No. So there'll be the extremes and masters, and then the ultras, pros, and elites for gaming level, and Gigabyte Gaming, which is, mainstream sort of stuff. It helps a little bit.
Yeah.
As opposed to, just slapping random names on it. But that is the most important part right there that you're looking at, is the pricing on these things.
It's
Pretty good pricing.
That's pretty
Like,
awesome.
They got
Even the most
They got so close, and then they named one the DS3H.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Come
something.
on, guys.
They can't completely get away from it.
guess
It's
which one's the tiny one.
So do you pronounce that Daesh? And does it make ISIS really angry?
I hope so.
I don't know.
That's some reaching there for me. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
right. Speaking of motherboards, but on the other side of things, Z370 apparently is compatible with some newer Intel stuff that initially I think we thought might need a new platform, right?
It's like a month ago on the podcast I posted this question. I
Yeah.
was always of the mind that these new, in theory, 8-core parts would work with Z370 because Intel would see so much shit if they didn't.
That's true.
And MSI is kind of confirming it here. There have been a lot of Intel leaks recently, in the past 24 hours, there have been 4 different roadmaps that have leaked that have talked about upcoming Intel CPUs, the 9000 series. As far as we know, there's going to be an i7 9700K, which would be an 8-core not hyper-threaded part, and then the i9 9900K, which would be the 8-core 16-thread part. This handy table from MSI shows what BIOS version will work with these Z370 boards, and they're just saying 9000 series processors.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, they don't list like the H or B, like the H360 or B360 part and motherboards that were released, I don't know, in March or April. I'd imagine they'd be compatible too, maybe not with the 8-core parts because of VRM stuff, but
Yeah,
at
it might be
least
a
with
VRM
the
issue.
lower end sort of, what are we calling this? Coffee Lake Refresh?
Yes.
Is that what
is
it's
like
called?
the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've decided to be honest for once.
Right.
And as you're mentioning, part of those leaks were the new motherboards and chipsets,
Yeah.
and only the Z390 was announced. So the chances of a brand new socket the next time you want to upgrade are less than they were the last couple of generations, which is kind of nice to see.
I mean, we're getting our typical Intel 2 CPU generations per socket thing. Where they go from here is a whole nother question. If they actually try to be pro-consumer and let you use yet another generation. For
I mean, what are they doing
first
now
time
to
ever.
Charleston?
Yeah.
Like, we've got off the TikTok and the waltz. I mean, I don't know what they're doing at this point, but
Exactly.
do they?
No, nobody knows. Next up, a case for PUBG. Look at that thing. NCXT made case that looks like the, what are they called? The things that
The
drop.
loot box.
Is
An
it just a loot box?
airdrop.
Airdrop.
Something like
I
that.
had to look it up.
Yeah, it's
And as I mean, the naming scheme, just like Josh pointed out on the last one, is a little bit unfortunate because I'm sure CRFT is supposed to be craft, but second I read it, it was cruft. That's just not
the best.
good.
how much is this case? They're only gonna make 2,000.
well, It's $200 as long as you bought it already, because there were only 2,000 of them made.
Oh,
10% of their sales goes to Gamers Outreach, which is kind of a nice bringing gaming laptops to underprivileged children as opposed to educational laptops. So we should all be behind this.
Absolutely.
yeah.
But this is the start of a new series coming out from NZXT. So they've announced the Craft 1, which is this one. Craft 2 will be towards the end of this month with no real information about it. Craft 3 will be a third case sometime this year. But they also reached out to me to mention that it's more than just these cases. It's going to become a new line for NZXT of limited edition, interesting looking products.
All right.
God only knows what lines they might reach out for, and
Yeah.
if they'll stick with a charity thing, which I hope they do. But yeah, if you really want this sort of a thing, keep an eye on them because they're very limited edition, and they're based off, like, this is the H700. So people have seen this before plenty of times. It's just fancy.
So you're saying they're already sold out, or
Yes.
I expect so.
I mean,
I would be shocked if they weren't.
I
Okay.
kind of like the idea of like limited edition PC stuff because we don't really see that a whole lot. It really depends on like where, like how many they supply as opposed to demand. Like if they're sneakers and how sneakers are and they sell out in half a second after launch, it's pretty stupid.
the
but
button is still
oh,
there.
yeah, you can still pre-order it. But
Oh.
yeah, like if you can get it within a week, like yeah, absolutely. Like limited edition stuff is cool. Like apparently nobody really wants this one, but
No, I'm sure
I
people
don't know
want
when
it.
it actually went up on
Just maybe
pre-order.
not 2,000.
Yeah,
of
just
them
wait
yet.
till the Fortnite one goes up.
Oh, God.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
It comes with a hat.
All right. So that's done. Next up, AMD second quarter results.
Sure, that's
Financials.
nice.
Drank your beer, Josh.
AMD made some money.
That's nice.
That's good. They needed to
so
do that.
nice for AMD.
Yeah.
You know, apparently they made 1.76 billion this quarter, which is up from 1.65 billion last quarter.
Wow.
And their net income rose up to $116 million. And you'll be, impressed by AMD because that's very un-AMD like for the past 6 years or so. They really have not had a quarter like this since 2011. They've done very, very well for AMD. I'm not trying to talk down their accomplishments because this time last year, they reported something like 1.1 billion in revenue and a loss.
Yeah.
So in between, releasing Ryzen, getting some initial sales going, and then consistently increasing their quarterly performance quarter after quarter, they're now at a place where they're profitable, and that's something that they haven't seen in a long time. Now, they're starting the ramp up of EPYC. The big ramp is going to happen kind of in the second half of this year because, server chips are a different breed of animal. Guys like Dell, HP, and, Lenovo, I guess, they do servers, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They take these parts and they do a lot of work on them, and they make sure that everything runs, and they make sure that everything is stable. And they work with, like their virtual machine partners to, VMware and the other guys. I can't remember their name.
Citrix?
No, they don't do VM, do they?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
Anyway.
who else does VMs.
They may have. Anyway, they do a lot of work, make sure software support is there, make sure all the hardware is running like it's supposed to, because nobody wants a cranky server. Nobody. And so, it takes a little bit longer to get server parts out there. And so they've been selling them. We've seen a slightly larger bump in Q2 with EPYC than we had seen in previous quarters. And again, they're expecting a larger ramp throughout the rest of this next year and going into next year. I don't know if we want to talk about too much of this right now as compared to the Intel stuff, but AMD is already sampling 7-nanometer EPYC parts, which are codenamed Rome, and we expect to see those in around the first quarter of 2019. And this is a very, very positive thing. Right now, AMD is relying on TSMC for 7-nanometer production for both Rome as well as the Vega 7-nanometer stuff that they are going to release here in Q3, Q4. It's going to be one of the first 7-nanometer graphics parts, but it's not for consumer use. It's going to be for machine learning, AI, that kind of data center type stuff. Next year, we're going to see Navi, and that's going to probably be 7-nanometer, but we don't know who from. Either it's going to be TSMC or GlobalFoundries, who's a little later on their 7-nanometer process. But AMD has done very well. They had really, in the past couple of years, shaved down their operation enough that they could exist on low margins, very low revenue, and still be able to develop new products. And we have now 2 generations of a Ryzen, the first gen Ryzen, and then the 2000 series that were released this spring. And they're doing well. The sad kind of thing here is that they haven't grown as much as people were hoping. They're making a profit, they're doing well, but they don't seem to be taking the market share. And part of that is because this is not the Athlon 64. Athlon 64, when it was released, was head and shoulders above better than what Intel had. It was what the original 3200 Plus was a 2.2 gigahertz product, and it outperformed a 3.2 gigahertz Northwood Pentium 4 processor. It was just head and shoulders better. I mean, it was lower TDP, fast memory support, gaming was better. Everything was better with Athlon 64 as compared to Pentium 4. And then, this is now just competitive. I mean, it's a huge jump up from Bulldozer, but it's just competitive with what Intel has. Some areas it does better than Intel. I mean, they have a better price performance in terms of multi-processor support, but their IPC is not quite there with what Intel has. And so they have a competitive product, and they're eking out more money per quarter than what they had before. It isn't the slam dunk that Athlon 64 was, and it certainly wasn't the slam dunk that Opteron was when they ended up releasing that. So, it's a different market. It's a different company, but they are doing well with 1.76 billion in revenue for this quarter, and we expect to see flat for the next quarter, so around that same amount, and then hopefully Q4 we'll see a little bit more. But 2019 looks to be a lot more exciting for AMD because of things that we will cover in the next story.
Speaking of that next story,
It's already up.
Alan wasn't paying
I was
attention.
just waiting for Alex to switch to the laptop again, but he had
God,
to
I
switch to
hate you.
had to switch to me.
Well, Alan, if
I
you're not
so
paying
hate
attention,
you.
I'm totally gonna cut back to you.
Of course.
I mean,
So, Alan, what do you think of AMD's results?
I think when you look at Intel's results, it kind of makes me feel bad for AMD still, even though they are doing better. But holy crap, Intel 17 billion in revenue, 5 billion net.
Yeah, because
Jesus.
think
so
about
10
it.
times the revenue.
Okay, 10 times the revenue and a significant amount more
Yeah, that's
Of-
5 billion net compared
profits.
to what was it, 100 and something million?
So I think I figured it out that AMD, of their revenue, they made 6% profits as compared.
yeah,
And
A lot
Intel,
of
with their
kicks in the
17
teeth.
billion, they made 30%,
Yeah.
30 some odd percent.
that's just nuts.
I mean,
That's
they're
just crazy.
okay. AMD had 36 or 37% margins. Intel is 61.5%. It's just 61.4. Sorry, but it's ludicrous how much money Intel makes. So here's AMD. They're a scrappy company. They've got a good product. They're starting to roll out their EPYC stuff, but oddly enough, in between Q2 of 2017 and Q2 of 2018, the regular PC market at Intel grew 6%. And they didn't take anything away from AMD. AMD grew itself, but that means that the PC market actually grew significantly over the past year because everybody has been talking since nearly time immemorial, okay, at least since like 2012, that the PC market was dying. Well, guess what? The PC market still has no signs of dying. And then 6% growth for this group over a year where everything was, dark and horrible and these things are going to fall off and we're going to have more mobile stuff and really ultra mobile rather than desktops and laptops and that hasn't turned out to be the case. The demand is there, and Intel seemingly took more of the new market that opened up than AMD did. I mean, AMD did well, and they've done well historically, but Intel was just gangbusters. I mean, 17 billion a quarter in revenues it's just they just keep growing and growing. It's record revenue, and they've got the margins, and even though they have 4 mega fabs that they have to support and pay a lot of money for, I mean, they're still getting 61.4% margins on their products. So it just kind of tells you where the market's at and where Intel's at. And I mean, AMD's got a competitive product, but they haven't yet dethroned the king. Now, I did talk a little bit more about some of the things they talked about with their 10 nanometer process. 10 nanometer so far is essentially broken. Charlie Demersion and others have talked about this pretty much ad nauseum. It just doesn't work. And so they pulled people off their 7 nanometer process work, and they're trying to fix 10 nanometer. And in this conference call, they talked about second half to 2019, they'll actually introduce 10 nanometer parts. By holiday season, there will be products on the shelf using 10 nanometer. And that's hopeful. And what this does, because AMD is already sampling 7 nanometer ROM parts, and we expect them to introduce 7 nanometer desktop and mobile parts in the first half of 2019. They have anywhere from, a 9-month to 12-month window where, can you hear that?
We can.
Yeah.
Children, I can't take them anywhere. Anyway, they've got
they always find their way back.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. It's like I sweep for breadcrumbs, but obviously I'm missing some. But anyhow, no, they AMD has a significant window of opportunity to take up much more market share and to sell a lot more products and to be able to maximize their earning potential due to Intel's manufacturing issues. And we're not going to see Intel 7 nanometer in 2019. We're not going to see it in 2020. It may be a 2021 part. Now, take this all with a grain of salt, because what TSMC calls 7 nanometer is closer to what Intel has with their current 10 nanometer and what they're hoping to be their improved 10 nanometer next year. So it's going to be an interesting time, and I think AMD is actually going to take some market share, and they're going to have some, 1.8 billion and above revenue, and especially if they start getting into the data center, like they're hoping to with their Rome processor, which is a 7 nanometer. It's going to be very dense. It's going to be much more power efficient, and overall performance in IPC is going to be about the same. Their density and the amount that they pay per die is going to be more efficient than what Intel is able to offer with their 14 nanometer plus or plus that they're hoping to introduce. Design is still important, and Intel has an advantage there. Just the amount of IP that they got, the amount of R&D, the amount of people actually working on this stuff. But physics can only go so far. And somebody's got a better process technology, they can do more things. And plus, we've got Zen 2 coming out next year. It's going to be looking like a really solid, nice growth year for AMD, and it's going to come from the unhappiness of Intel, that they're going to lose some share just because, unless their Ice Lake and some of the other Xeon stuff can really compete with what AMD has to offer, they're just going to lose out. People will buy elsewhere because it's a better value for what AMD has to offer. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, throughout 2018, Intel is going to have record quarters. Q3, Q4, record. But come Q1, Q2, I think we're going to start seeing some cracks appear. And if they don't get their 10 nanometer process down pat, then the pain is going to last a little bit longer than the second half of 2019.
So, Josh, I got a question for you.
Okay.
You were touching on how Intel's 10 or Intel's 14 is equivalent to TSMC's 12, or is there any way we can take, we're launching on 7, we're launching on 10, 10's delayed, now we're on 12 plus. Is there any way to put all this stuff on a level playing field and say, this is apples, this is apples, this is apples, and compare it straight across the board so we're talking about the same thing? Because if we have 7 shipping and 14 shipping,
Yeah, no, it's the confusion is there because it's all marketing terms. If you actually dug into process technology, you would understand how incredibly complex it is. It's not an easy fix to do. I mean, we're talking materials, we're talking litho, we're talking, self-aligned quad patterning type stuff. I mean, it's incredibly complex. It's almost like alchemy. add a little bit of this here, this there, and suddenly something works, and we have no idea why. That's kind of process technology, and eventually they study it enough, and they're like, okay, well, it's because this interacts with this in this way, but it doesn't always work that way. And so, Intel had a roadmap. It's like, well, we want to integrate this. We want to integrate, gallium oxide, and we want to do cobalt instead of copper in the last two, metal layers, because it has, different physical effects, and we should, in theory, see better yields from this because there's not going to be any electromigration and blah, blah, blah. And suddenly you put all these things together that sound great, and it just doesn't work, and you really wished it did. And in theory, you're looking at all of the data around you. It's like it should work, but it doesn't, because nature is never. I mean, it's a harsh mistress. It's physics is a bear, especially when you're getting into these such small dimensions.
Yeah, because when you're
Strange
talking,
things
you're talking
happen.
10 nanometer litho is what, like 30 atoms wide on the traces?
Well, I mean, okay, if you're talking 10
Roughly.
nanometer, I mean 10 nanometer, yeah, but it's of course larger than that with a lot of the stuff, and so it's again it's there's marketing involved, and the dimensions. I mean, there are some that kind of coincide with 10 nanometer. It's goofy, but yeah, I mean, we're not quite to the things are 30 atoms wide, but we're getting damn close. But you're dealing with so many layers, so many different oxides, and you're worrying about doping of materials, and it's so complex. And I mean, it takes billions of dollars, and it takes thousands of engineers, and it just takes millions of man hours to get these things going. I mean, it's not simple. I wish that we could all kind of understand. It's like this is PFM. This is pure freaking magic that these things even come out and work.
Well, I mean, we tricked rocks into doing math. This is all magic.
It really is. You made sand, and it can make 3D worlds. I mean, it's magical. It really is. But Intel's got some stumbling blocks in front of them, and they've got a lot of issues. But it's a big company. They have experienced problems before, and I think this is going to be a speed bump for them. And it's going to be interesting to see if AMD can kind of keep up the steam and keep their pedal on the foot on the pedal, and make themselves a 20 to 25% market shareholder. That would be awesome for AMD. And as it is, I mean, Intel owns like essentially 90% of the market overall. So this next year is going to be interesting to see what AMD is able to do. I mean, they're going to get their 14 nanometer or 12 nanometer EPYC, whichever one they're using for that, and see if they can get some. I think they're expecting single-digit percentage, takeaway of market share just with EPYC, and so Q3 and Q4 are going to be very interesting to watch from AMD. And Q1 of next year is going to be extremely fascinating, especially if they can get out by the end of this year 7 nanometer EPYC. And I think Q2 is probably going to be when we expect 7 nanometer Ryzen 2. I mean, not Ryzen 2000 series, but the true Zen 2 architecture.
All right.
Have I talked enough? Because I felt like I talked enough.
You talked enough to wrap up the news.
Shaving cream.
So there you go. I guess that leaves us with picks of the week.
It does.
So I guess I'll take Ryan's spot. And so a few months ago, there was an announcement of DLC to Star Trek Bridge Crew, which if you've messed with any of the VR stuff, is basically just a VR version of Star Trek where you actually you're on the bridge of various starships in the Star Trek universe, and they recently announced, hey, we're going to make a next generation one, which I thought might be pretty cool, since that's one of the relatively more recent.
Look at the L cars.
Yeah, there's L cars and stuff.
How much is the green alien lady download?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's in the original series bridge.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. So that came out, I think, last week. The DLC came out. And people have been playing it. I actually need to sit down with it again, mess around with it, because it looked pretty darn cool. So I need to check that out. It does cost money. It's like $15.
What's the original game cost these days?
I don't know what it is now. I think it was like $50 when I got it.
It can't be that expensive anymore.
Don't be surprised. Because,
Steampower.com. Let's see. Star
Can we look
Trek.
it
That'll
up?
probably only turn back one. It's $40.
Oh, it's
Plus
40
the
now.
$15 DLC.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a bundle for 50. So,
Yeah.
does that at least.
Yeah, they'll weasel the extra $15 out of me.
With the Star Trek brand being weaseled for money What?
Yeah, I know, right?
in recent years.
Next up, Jeremy.
Well, I mean, wait for the sale, but I had to do this because I can actually pull a Josh.
He has one.
I like
You have
big
to put the camera back
coolers.
to him.
Yes. This cooler is
Nice.
great.
It's within arm's reach.
We have a lot of
It
those
is.
in the office.
Well, we have this one specifically.
Is this
Yes.
the Threadripper
Mhm.
edition, though?
Oh,
We put that in our server.
Yeah, this is the U14S. So for those of you who, I mean, maybe my head isn't necessarily a good measuring, this is the size of the box.
Dude, you actually got
that's
it.
true.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got the Threadripper.
Yeah, I'm slowly picking stuff up. Everything I've bought, except for this bastard, has been 40% off or so. Apparently, this never goes on sale except down to its MSRP of $79. So, yeah, I decided to pick it up because, I mean, the Corsair stuff looks interesting, but now I'm adding pump noise and, you know, the fact of a horrible failure. And frankly, I just like air coolers. It's 165 mil clearance. So you're going to want to shop around for a good case.
Yep.
It's not going to fit in the vast majority of cases that you want. I just picked up a giant Roseville case that can actually fit 2 PSUs in it because
Why not?
why not? It's the first non-NZXT case I've bought in years. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've apparently got to pick up the second fan, and I hope I'm not making Maury jealous that my cooler might be a bit bigger than his is.
At least the cold plate.
Well, the cold plate's definitely bigger. The mating surface is something else. So stay tuned for that.
All right. Next up, Josh with the cool pick.
Me? I don't even know what I picked anymore.
You don't know what you picked anymore.
Oh,
Hell,
yeah. Okay, so you
ooh.
know what we talked earlier
I'm surprised
about
this is your pick.
in my misspent youth that I bought one of those 101 type electrical kits from Radio Shack, and we made like buzzers and flashing lights and other, you know, you get a whole booklet of stuff that you can make out of this, you know, kind of pre-done circuit board and power supply, and you got 100 different wires, and you change it to resistors and caps and whatever, and you can do, you know, all kinds of projects. Well, this is seemingly the next generation of this. It's the Super Starter Kit for Arduino. You get the Arduino board, you get the breadboard, you get all kinds of resistors.
Kids these days
and-
get the best toys.
It's
Yeah,
not a
no
bad
kidding.
price.
I
I
mean,
tell you
you
what,
can do-
Bloody hell.
that price is way cheaper than that 101.
Yeah,
kit
yeah. I mean,
was.
$35 is nothing
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
And what's-
You can
it's
do
got-
all kinds of fun things.
Yeah, it's got the base. It's got a couple shields. Looks like it's got a rain
Ultrasonic
sensor.
sensors.
I mean, hell, that Arduino's probably got as much brains on it as most of the old Titan missions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Never
I
need
mean,
more
that's-
than 8 bits.
That's really cool.
Relay.
Yeah, it
temperature
is.
sensor.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Man,
Motor.
multiple breadboards.
$35.
Shit.
You
That's
get a
Remote
display.
control?
You got a lot of stuff, and
servo?
you get a manual and figure out how to build stuff, and
They
you can
threw a
start.
freaking servo in there.
And from the looks of it, the case it comes in can actually be used as a build thing.
Yeah, you could probably do that.
You can Dremel anything.
Yeah,
It's true.
That's cool.
yeah. I mean, for
Neat.
$35,
Thanks,
that's
China.
nothing.
Oh yeah. All right.
Good call, Josh.
Thanks.
I might have to add that to my cart. Except not on this laptop.
No, that's my account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Add to cart.
I had it on Ken's
Shit.
Lenovo.
Next up, Ken.
So there's this company called HD Fury, and they've been around for like 10 years at this point. And what they do is they break HDCP, which is helpful.
Legally?
No, not legally. I've looked at their stuff a couple of times through the years for different, like streaming capture stuff we've needed to do, and they're always pretty expensive. And you could find alternative methods. We'll say like the one monoprice HDMI to DVI adapter we have that seemingly ignores HDCP. So there are always other ways you could do it, but they've really come a long way with stuff like this. This is the Vertex 4K 60. And what this is essentially a magic box that allows you to do whatever you want to an HDMI stream. So you plug your input into one end and you output to another, right? It has actually 2 inputs and 2 outputs you can use simultaneously, all at 4K 60 hertz. So it's got an FPGA in there with a lot of bandwidth, and you can upscale anything, you can downscale anything to anything, you can set whatever ED-ID you want, you can clone ED-IDs off of other devices, you can inject HDR metadata.
Jesus.
So, like, one of the things I bought it for is we have the Leo Bodnar HDMI input latency tester, which is great, but it only goes up to 1080p. It's HDMI 1.4. It only goes to 1080p.
Yep.
He isn't really planning on building another one. However, with this, you can test 4K 60
And there's-
HDR latency because this doesn't really add any latency.
Yeah. It might have
How-
an extra scan line worth of latency or something, not like a whole frame. So
How much does this monstrosity cost?
It costs $350 from them. Monoprice is also a retailer of it, and I put the link in the show notes as a second link. They have open box for I think it's $200 every once in a while, and when I happened to find this and kind of Google around for it, they had one in stock. So I bought an open box for $200. You can put your email address in there, get notified. The Windows software is actually pretty good for something like this. Like, it's well laid out. You get all the options. They say they'll be able to support HDMI 2.1 and all the features through a firmware update. So VRR. I have not been able to pass FreeSync through it. That's one of the things we're kind of trying to do. But in theory, it should support the actual HDMI 2.1 VRR standard. It
sounds like they've built some capability into that in terms of just raw processing performance.
Yeah.
That is yet untapped.
Yeah. Again, this isn't something
they
a lot
built
of people
some stuff
need.
into it to ignore all the crap that's
Yeah.
been overlaid on
Right.
top of the signal.
Yeah. This isn't something a lot of people need. This is actually like their highest end product. They have other products that can, like, let's say you have a receiver that only supports HDCP 1.4 and you have a Blu-ray player that only supports HDC 2.2. This will magically convert between HDCP protocols and just let it work.
That's
A lot of stuff like that. Like, if you have older equipment that has limitations with bandwidth or something like that and you need to do something, like, this box can help you. It's got a really nice OLED display on it. It's remarkably well built.
yeah.
It's just like a high quality device that
Can you throw it through a window and it'll survive?
I think so.
Maybe.
This company's
Cool.
been
You
sued
should-
plenty of times and somehow is still around, so I don't know. But they are like the masters of all this manipulation, HGPC breaking stuff. They've been around forever. Yeah,
So it's PFM, right?
pretty much. Yeah.
Wow, this would be
Awesome.
like totally illegal in Canada.
Might be totally illegal here.
No, it's totally legal up here.
Oh.
Well, we don't have no. What do you guys call that insane thing down there?
DMCA?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
What? How could you not have a DMCA? Actually, so in 2016, they won against Warner Brothers in a lawsuit.
So not just like settled or dismissed, but won.
It seems so.
Holy crap. Curious to know like what they actually won there.
Yeah. So Warner Brothers dropped their lawsuit.
Sweet. Probably because they were about to set a nasty precedent.
Yeah.
That
so
would not have been good
you
for
know,
the
I
industry.
don't understand how it's not infringing upon something, but
It's
It's hard to prove if you can't figure out how they're doing it.
it's the right to convert. Well, that's specifically what that thing's doing is converting formats. It's format shifting.
It's black box in there, baby.
Yeah. So
They have no clue.
it's an FPGA and a microcontroller because when you update the firmware, you flash both. So yeah, like it's just a fucking FPGA. Like you can't prove a whole lot necessarily. Like,
Well, but not just that. I'm just saying, like it's it's legitimately it's format shifting.
Yeah.
Format shifting is like the essence of
yeah,
like the whole ways around DMCA. It's like,
Yeah.
look, I'm trying to shift it onto this other device. Like, what are you gonna do?
they're
Wait, so I'd be arrested for shifting it from like PAL to NTSC?
No. That's format shifting
that's
is
how is that different
legal.
from this?
yeah. Format shifting is the workaround. It's the legal workaround.
it's when you get rid of that copy bit.
Well,
Yeah.
you're trying to format shift to get it to a device that
Yeah.
may not be able to have that, like may not be able to handle that.
Well, then you get into the whole
Mm.
bypassing
How did they
encryption
reverse
thing.
engineer that?
Well, I don't know.
Sort of thing. But yeah, it's cool.
It's black box, man.
Yeah.
It's a helpful thing for us to have around. People won't generally need it unless they have a specific application, like having an old receiver they don't get rid of, and they just like need to pass one device through. It's expensive, but it could be cheaper than a new receiver. Look at the open box one. $200 is actually a pretty good deal for this. $350s. I probably wouldn't buy it for $350 unless I really had a project I needed it for. But
Yep.
Hey, I like my ancient Kenwood box.
Exactly.
It's back before they actually started to suck and make car stereos and everything. It's decent.
All right. I guess that wraps it up. PCPro.com/podcasts, where you'll find the show notes with all the links to all the stuff we just talked about. I mean, I guess that's it. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. And with that, I say good night, and hopefully Ryan will be here next week. I'm not even going to say hopefully.
No.
Nah.
Okay.
It's going to be a Nassau.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
I want to go to Nassau.
Is that where he is now?
No, he's flying
No.
back to Cincinnati now.
Yeah, he's flying home.
He'll be home.
No,
he'll be
next
here
week I
tomorrow.
think he'll be
Coming
headed out of
home.
YVR to Chicago.
Mhm.
I made him share.
I might
his-
actually see him.
I made
next
him
week.
share his calendar with me like last week, so I had at least somewhat of a clue what was going on.
Wait, no, that's 2 weeks from now. Yeah, SIGGRAPH's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, he'll be here. No, he won't be here. Actually, we won't probably have a podcast next week.
I won't be here next week.
I won't be here next week. Ryan won't be here next week. I mean, you
Alex,
guys could
I'm
do
gonna
it,
be
I
here
guess.
next
It's all you,
week.
Alex.
But you don't
Screw you,
want
I'm
to
going to a
see
bar next week.
Yeah,
me.
we'll have to try to maybe figure that one out. I mean, we could, in theory, maybe do something remotely.
I could try. From
Just
the crappy
because we
internet in the
can.
hotel.
Do or
Maybe
do
we
not.
just do an
Actually,
hour-long
no, we have
Q&A
a
session.
thing during the podcast.
A thing.
Josh can
That's
be drunk
exactly during
Are
the
you,
podcast.
going to do it
Questions.
on the podcast?
Yeah.
inaccurately.
Oh, you have an event
We're at the same event.
at Flash Memory Summit?
Yes.
Oh.
The evening event.
Yeah, I got you.
Are you going to get your little black dress out, Ken?
Of course.
Nice.
Never leave home without it.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it?
It rolls up really nice and small.
Packs nicely, neatly.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not a romper. Though I would maybe pay a few dollars to see Ken in a romper.
What would you call a man romper? There's got to be a clever name
It's
for that.
called a romper.
A romper.
How about one of those Borat swimsuits?
No.
Oh,
no,
is
it's
it the
too much.
Borkini or Mankini?
Yeah.
No.
All right. Fine.
Well, thanks all. It's been fun.
It's been real.
Mm-hmm.
I've had beverages, if you couldn't tell.
Beverages.
There's a little bit more talking than there was last week.
Yeah.
Well, you had two things to talk
Three.
about. It's just like
Yeah.
Also, we didn't do a podcast
More
last
than
week.
last week? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a lot more talking than
Yeah.
it was last week.
actually put out some content for a change, which I need to continue to do because you know
Someone's
what?
gotta.
I like to get paid.
You know, Josh, I might do an X399 review before you do.
Oh,
Oh,
that's-
surely.
Well, I know you will, but I've never received any X399 products. So.
Well, I mean, I have to go buy it myself.
yeah, I
and all.
know. I bought my own FreeSync monitor to see what that's all about. I think it was one of
Well,
my
how's the
picks
review
because
going on
it's
that?
pretty dang good for
Which one you
for
buy?
when I bought it for $159. It's an awesome little monitor.
How's the review going on it?
I don't know. I'm working on 2 others, so
Well,
it's down the line.
exactly.
By the time it comes out, it will be that sale price again regularly.
All right.
All right, guys. It's nice seeing you again. I've missed you all.
Aw.
Aw.
Oh, it's been 2 weeks.
It has been.
2
I don't talk
weeks.
to anybody else except family. You know how that goes.
That's hard.
We're not family, Josh.
Apparently.
We are family, but
No,
you're,
he likes
you're
us.
nice family. Anyway, good night, guys.
No.
See ya.
Good night.
Really well.
Let's get out of here and do some crap.
Let's get out of here, sleep, and come back tomorrow.
Sleep so we can
Yep.
come back tomorrow and work some more.
Work.
Work.
So I think